he carried that through his whole life. And he was amazing in those later years. All the work he did in genealogy, all the work that he did in just traveling around and being active and being so independent, even when it was against his best interests. At the age of 96, when they took his license away, he went in there and said, I want to see the manager. I want my driver's license back. And the manager said to him, I'll tell you what, you go out on a road test with me. You can pass with me, I will give you your license back. His license is good till the year 2022, right?
Yeah.
So, or something like that. Until he's 102, that's what it was. He got a license until he was 102. Strong-willed man, I'm proud to call him my father. And it's a brief summary, but that's where he came from, and that's the kind of man he was. And through all the difficulties, he maintained his character and his pride, his dignity. And as my brother said, the thing that he would make sure that we knew was that this was the place he was finally happy. The people that he met here, he called his buddies and his friends. And he felt surrounded by people who respected him and who he wanted to be with. And so I thank you all for that.
Thanks for sharing.
That's awesome. Anybody else? We can just sit and listen to music and I did bring the Dean Martin tape. That's amore. It's wonderful to hear about his wife, and he did say that he did really love her. She was the best thing for him ever happened. Oh, yes, good God.
I didn't know your dad that well, but when I knew of him, he was a bright man. His mind was always clear, and liked to tell stories, and they were true stories. I remember when he was at the hospital the first time, and I used to go visit him. I gotta get down to the dock. My buddy said, I gotta get down to the dock. I mean, he was that insistent. He'd get back down. He loved being down here with the guys. His monitor was, the monitor he has is probably the best monitor in the whole place. And he got the hardest job. But he loves everyone that he's been down there. Well, nobody messed with any of them.
You're right.
That's the name of the game. Usually the monitors, I'm the system monitor, but we take care of the guys in our room. We try to anyway. Not everybody's happy all the time, but oh well, who is?
Correct.
But we try to do the best we can. We'll take flack when we have to take the flack and just shrug it off. But anyway, he enjoyed it here. We called his nickname, I told you, we called him Moses. We'd see him and he just brought us, the happiness out of us. He'd say, God, I wish I'm that good when I get his age or close, you know. But anyway, he was a good person. I was really happy to meet him and talk to him. I used to go up visit him a few times a week and we'd talk. Oh, I lost my hearing aid. I don't know where it is, you know, around, you know. But he was cool. For a guy who's 99 years old, he was a real cool guy. And I like that. He's been. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to tell you guys this. Remember when he came down and we looked for his little card for the camera for the picture he had taken in? The day before he got ready to leave, I said, all right, I said, well, I'm going to come in and make sure you're all spivvy up so you might meet some hot blonde or something. So, my God, when they came to pick him up, he was dressed like the old man. And This young lady came up that was going to escort him down to Washington, and another guy. So I looks at her, and I looked at Gene. He looks at me, he goes, Gene, come on, Gene. I said, come on, Gene. He said, oh, you take it. I said, you take it easy. So when he came back, he said, I've got some pictures I gotta show you. He said, I had a damn good time in Washington. That was solid, man. Every day he would let me forget. He'd say, thank you, kid. Thank you. I said, what's am I doing? It was the facility and everybody, that's what we do till the guys of your caliber. You know what I mean? Your top shelf, your top notch, and this is what, comes out of it and everything. I said, so who'd you meet? He said, I had a good time, Ken. I said, well, that's all good. That's all good. But I just want to share that with you. He had really enjoyed, and I never got a chance to see those pictures that he took. On that little card, card that we found in the box.
He had them developed, pictures.
He had them developed?
Yeah, we saw them, right, you saw them.
Yeah.
All those pictures from Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's also a camera. We don't know what's in the camera.
Okay. I don't think you would have.
We'll see if the blonde's in the camera. We'll let you know about that.
Okay, I'll be in the office.
Hi. My name is Karen, and I had the good fortune of meeting both of you on Saturday, and also very briefly, and I wish I hadn't met your father sooner, but just being a little buddy to him the last few weeks. And I'm here volunteering anew, and just to go over every day and spend an hour or two with your dad and hang out. So, first asked if I would like to be a buddy. I said absolutely, and after I sign on, I'm then told that your father is declining, and then I think, okay, so this is a different kind of experience than I was originally thinking, and it wound up being a beautiful one. And so I'm given a brief description, and I'm prepared to walk into a quiet, dark room and find a gentleman in bed. And we get to the room, and I can see the shades open and the lights in. I'm thinking, okay, and I go in, and there he is, sitting in his chair, smile on his face, computer is on. My wheels are spinning. Wait a minute, did I hear this whole conversation correctly? Well, I had it with two people, so it must be correct. And so, thought it would be a brief intro. I wound up spending at least an hour and a half through that. On my way out, I double checked the clock. I'm like, oh, it's Mr. Johnson, my place. So that was on a Thursday, and I'm here Monday, Thursday. I couldn't wait to get back on Monday. It was a short story, but the pictures was the first thing he asked me. And there was a disc that we put in the tower of his computer. I don't know if that's his or belongs here.
We donated it.
Okay.
We didn't know the pictures were in there.
So I apologize, I knew it wasn't his. So, but they are of the monuments, and we set it up on a slideshow, and he didn't look at it right then, but we quickly got into genealogy and learned a little bit about your family. But he spoke a lot of you too. He spoke a lot about your mom. And you can tell that that's where his heart has always been. And so we had a couple of great days, and then we, kind of had a decline. And but I will say that he blew me away in the short amount of time that I knew him. Always had the fist bump at the end. Just such a gentleman, very bright, very with it. And just, you could tell he was a kind man. I know sometimes family gets the brunt. We always don't shine the best for our family, myself included. But certainly with everybody I saw him here, he was just a lovely man. And it was an honor and a privilege. And probably will always have a little special place here because he was my first person that I partnered up with. And he really, I don't know, he just really left an impression. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'll turn on some music and just think, and if anyone thinks of anything, please say it. exactly what he wanted. Exactly. I hope this is not, but I took I'm in charge of chaplaincy and the 2 seminaries. Do you remember that day? The 2 seminarians?
I heard all about it.
Oh, okay.
I heard all about it. I heard all about it.
One of them really responded really well, and I'm just getting back from a trip from Italy where I saw the person who said, well, I'm very sorry about that. You know, he was really spoke to actually what he said, you know, and I think it sort of, I don't know if it sunk in, but he was pretty adamant about, you know, saying no, no, no. And that values, the strong values, and the strong, and pretty much he was a defender of values and of his family, and of his family, you and he hurt for the other guys, you know. But it was just a joy. It made me love him even more, you know. So, and you know the story, and so I don't have to repeat it. Ken knows the story. He was going over there, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Here, I want you to meet, because he was the one who drug us in there.
It's your fault.
Yeah. He wanted to, why did you do that? No, I did that. It was great because it was the first day that they were on. They meet your father, and they were just, it was just incredible.
Oh, my
It
God.
really
I will
was.
never forget that.
I know, I
That's
know.
typical Eugene.
Man, if you.
Oh, I have a great guy for you to meet, and he goes in and he reams the 2 seminarians. I said, this is the best thing for them, you know? This is it, this is life. This is what, you know, some Catholics are gonna be in their parishes, and they're gonna come in storming.
Well,
And, it was great. Ken, he was so, I can't believe, he was standing out in the hall. Oh, my gosh.
that's,
And,
I'm just saying.
that's my father, he didn't have, what do I wanna say, he had an on-off switch. There was
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
in between.
Yeah.
When he went on, he would tell you exactly what it was, how it is, and that's it. And, you know, but to my father's credit, my
Oh.
father wasn't really a religious guy. My mother's Polish. My father's Irish, Scotch
Oh,
Irish.
yeah, oh.
So he's 100,
Yeah.
you know, if you guys wanna pull a cork for him, he would love it. But every Sunday, we went to church. And I had a feeling, I never saw it personally, but it was almost like my father was kicking and screaming going to church.
Yeah, oh, good.
He would dress up, he'd put a tie on, and he would sit there, I'd watch him, and he wouldn't say a word, wouldn't sing anything, he would just sit there. Until we acted up, and then he would drag us in the car, and you know, whatever kind
No-
of
no
licking we
crying.
needed, that's what he would do. But anyway,
He brought you up right.
yeah, so my father, because of my mother, he loved her so much, he would go to church, and, you know, which is a credit to him. But like you said, you know, when you talk about values, my father had a value, and
And
you
in
couldn't
high
talk,
standards.
there was no discussion, there was no
Black and white,
negotiation.
all black and white,
Right,
yeah.
and,
But you know what? He saw, it was brilliant. I really think he was a brilliant man. And very, yeah, you're right, Lou, very bright. Very bright. And, but so were one of the seminarians. The other one was from New Mexico, and he was a
Can
little.
you just tell me what they said, what the seminarian said back to him?
You know, so
I know what he said.
I'll think of it because he wrote about your father in his weekly, meeting. And he said that was one of the best experiences. This guy is phenomenal. I met him in Rome. He was in Rome, and he's just a first-year seminary student. He's great. He's Bill Fox. He was a social worker, though, before.
Yeah.
So he really spoke to the church, and he goes, yes, he agreed with them, yes, they were. It was a small percentage. We're trying to do the right thing, we're trying to repair, but how can you repair something like that? So we have to pray the mercy that we, if anyone else has ever done that justice would be done. I mean, this guy really spoke. He didn't waver from what your dad's reaction to these two seminarians that sold their souls to the devil. You know? No. You know, he didn't say it, but I'm sure he thought it.
Yeah.
But he was awesome. He was really awesome. And I said, Ken, I think that was the best thing. I was sort of snickering in the background, you know.
I wanted to run out of here.
I know you really were. You were squirming out there in the hall when your dad really came and gave him heck, you know. So. But it was truthful heck, you know.
Oh, yeah, right.
It was always truthful. He was always a truthful man. That honesty was great, and it was an appropriate emotional response, you know.
And that was also an eye opener for those two young gentlemen.
Yeah, it was the
I mean,
best thing.
Yeah, right.
Seriously,
When you're saying
definitely.
learning things in a minute that normally people would learn in
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
And they got it all in one minute.
Play it down.
I don't see the two,
So,
the two priests that were up in the hospital.
yeah,
When I
yeah,
got
seminarian,
seminary,
Bill
I'm
Fox.
sorry.
The guy's name is Bill Fox.
Bill
Wait
Fox.
for him because he's going places.
Okay.
He's really, really good. He's
That
50 years old and had been a social worker for a long time. And so he knows, and for children. And, you know, so he was the perfect person to actually speak to your dad and not waver and not be sort of like, oh, let's get out of here.
Mhm.
He stood there and spoke to him. And your father actually became kind of quiet because of what he was saying,
Yeah, he would.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
I usually just ran out of the room
Oh,
myself.
yeah, so, we're having a great time. Can I please call upon our commissioner? Please, I know I'm putting you on the spot. This is, come, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sean.
He's
Hi, Sean.
Irish.
You know my email?
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, sure.
Appreciate it. Not a lot.
It's my brother John. This is
Sean
my wife Marjorie.
Connolly.
And this is my brother's wife Christine.
Sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
99.
service and for your dad's service as well. We appreciate it. Means a lot to have great veterans here on campus. I'm the new commissioner about 3 months in, and I can't tell you how inspired I've been by being around the veterans that are here on campus, as well as getting around the state to see our great veterans around Connecticut. So appreciate you being here. Glad I could be here to spend a minute with you.
Awesome.
Again, my condolences to you, and I know it's always a great loss, but know that you served us well, and we appreciate you and your comment yesterday and thanking us and our staff, because we are striving here to provide service excellence, world-class service excellence for our veterans, which is what they deserve. So,
It couldn't have got any better. You guys could not have done any better.
thank you.
That's a fact. Everybody, like I said, I can't say it enough how wonderful you guys are. So it's, you know how it is with military guys, you know, the buck rests with you when it's bad, and it rests with you when it's good. So, you know, under your leadership, even though you're brand new, you have a wonderful staff.
Thank you very much.
Really, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So good to see another soldier, and I see you got the clatter ring on too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know, I just want to tell you a quick story. This was 2 rings. I had this one on, I had, you know, my wedding ring and the clotta here.
Yeah.
And because when I went to Afghanistan, you can only wear 1 ring, I took this ring and had it soldered together. So
Oh,
that
wow.
was 1 ring.
Pretty good. You got one too.
Yeah.
My dad comes from Ireland, so.
Oh, really?
You know the story about the clatter ring?
Yeah.
It's the old Irish wedding ring,
Mhm.
so you gotta
Yes.
turn the right way.
Yes.
Everyone
All
know
right,
that
tell
story?
us.
I was
Tell
taught
us.
well.
Tell us who are,
It's the old Irish wedding ring. You can see how it has the crown and the hearts, and the hands are on the hearts. When you're taken, you turn it in, so the heart's in. When you're available, it's in.
It's the same as a red light.
So, will you all take care, and wish you all the best.
Thank you for coming,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
Stay in touch. Let us know
Yeah.
how you're doing, and if you
Yes.
have any thoughts and on how we can improve here and across the state, let us know.
Nothing,
All right,
nothing, really.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Hi, my name is Megan, I'm one of the social workers here. Hi. I worked with your dad when he was down here in the domicile, and I just wanted to say what a joy it was to spend time with him. He was always highly entertaining, even when he was, standing up for his rights or whatnot, he was very entertaining and very pleasant to be around, and so appreciative, which is something that, sometimes it's a hard place to work. And he always would come in, and no matter what was going on, even if he was there with, standing his ground about something, in the end, he always said how much he appreciated all of the help he was getting, and appreciated being here with his fellow veterans, and that, even the little things, he always noticed them and said thank you for them. I worked with Heidi while we were planning his wishes when he was setting up his prepaid funeral contract. We worked together. I never had such an entertaining time working with someone as they were preparing their end-of-life desires. And so it was just a pleasure to spend time with him. So, thank you for sharing him with us. And, it was just the little things, like when he came back from the trip, I mean, he couldn't have said enough wonderful things about, here they were thanking him, and all he could do was continue to thank all the people who gave him the experience to go to Washington. So that was wonderful. I mean, little things like his whole belly clams. And his obsession with having great whole belly clams. The best ever he's decided, I think we're at City Fish.
We can tell you stories about clams.
When he came here at the end of our first meeting, I said, what else can we do for you? And he said, get me whole belly clams. And not the cheap ones, He wanted the real deal. He did not, he knew the good places. So when he had his birthday, when he turned 99 and he was here, they were able to get him some whole belly clams up in the dining hall and did a little birthday celebration for him. Again, all he could do was talk about how great it was. So he was thankful, but really it was so pleasurable to spend time with him. So thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, my father was happy on vacation if you didn't show him rocks. If you gave him clams, he was happy. He didn't like rocks.
One time one time, I had my sister lives in Oregon, and she's older, hard for her to get around where we're at. Yeah, come out to San Francisco area, so I said, yeah, I've been around the country, but I know he hadn't seen Lake Tahoe and that kind of stuff, so I took him up to Lake Tahoe, and then I decided to drive through Nevada, give him a nice trip to see the Sierra Nevadas and mountains and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll come into Yosemite, you can see Yosemite or whatever, so. And my father's sitting in the car and just looking at the thing, and he's getting kind of bored, looking at the mountains and all that kind of stuff, and then I hear from the back seat, nothing but a bunch of rocks. Nothing but a bunch of rocks. So, he was pretty paid off for the rest of the trip.
Wait, but then he called me and said, John took me to see rocks.
Some people would say, oh, it's here in Nevada, So then we get to Yosemite. Then my father, we're gonna eat, and my father gets out of the car, and we're sitting at a picnic table, and he looks across at me, and he looks up at the big mountains there, and the waterfall, and visit the dome,
Yeah, I have to.
the half dome, right? Beautiful, beautiful, and he said, now this is something. Of course, now he's got a sandwich in his hand and a cold beer. So that's where the rock came from. Oh, and whenever we went, he would come to San Francisco. San Francisco was known for crabs. He's like, where can we get some belly clams? Like, there's no belly clams, it's sushi.
He was working, one time we went out there, my wife and myself, he was working, and I said to my father, what do you want to do, Pop? I used to call him Pop. What do you want to do, Pop? And he would say, well, let's go out and get something to eat. So we drove around, we're in Sausalito, around San Rafael. I don't know the little towns. But me and my wife, we drove 4 or 5 hours until we were starving. It was getting to be almost dinner time, looking for clams. I didn't know there was no clams. But we'd go in there, we'd read on the menu, you know, we'd stop, I'd go read the menu, I'd get out of the car, run, read the menu, okay, they got this pot, I want clams.
Clams.
They go to the next place, we got this, I don't care about that, I want clams. So, anyway, thanks for getting the clams.
Did you ever find clams?
No,
Oh.
there's no clams.
And there are no clams.
There's crabs.
No, there's no clams over there. Thank you, God.
He was a pistol.
Yeah, it was a pistol.